Now, if you're in Taiwan, and I'm sure most of you are, you might be saying, why are you playing the garbage truck music, Mike? And yes, it is the garbage truck music here in Taiwan. It's famous for that, in fact. Often when you read about Taiwan in other countries, you often see mentioned that we have Beethoven's famous Für Elise. That's the name of that song, playing from a garbage truck. But if you're in other parts of the world, hearing that song won't make you think, I gotta get the garbage. No, it'll make you think, piano lessons when I was a child, because that, of course, is one of the most famous songs that young piano students will learn. It's also the garbage truck music. Now today we're going to be looking at pianos, not learning them, not Beethoven, but the actual instrument. And here's a really interesting question about pianos. I'm sure you've all seen one. Many of you have probably even played one, but have you ever wondered why are piano keys black and white? Yeah, they almost always are. It's very rare to see any other color combination than lots of white keys with a few black keys kind of stuck in the middle. And yeah, why aren't they red and blue or purple and pink? I mean, these are nice color combinations. Well, if you've ever wondered about this question, and even if you haven't, we're going to be giving you an answer to the question of why are piano keys black and white. Question: why are piano keys black and white? A. To greatly reduce the cost of making a piano. B. To make different musical notes easier to identify. C. To represent the two types of sound waves. D. To mark the notes that are for advanced players only. The answer to this question can be explained by looking at the history of the piano. The piano was created in the 1700s as an improvement on earlier keyboard instruments, such as the harpsichord and pipe organ. Like modern pianos, the keys of these instruments were arranged in a repeating pattern of 5 black and 7 white keys. There were 2 reasons for this. First, musicians needed to be able to instantly identify the notes without counting. If all the keys looked the same, it would be difficult to tell one note from another. Second, white and black are the natural colors of the materials that were used to make the keys. The white keys of early pianos were made of ivory, and the black keys were made of ebony wood. Besides color, these materials were chosen mainly for their high durability, elegant appearance, and smooth feel. All right, yeah, why are piano keys black and white? That is our question. Let's look at some of the 4 possible answers we've given to you, and don't worry, one of these answers is the correct answer. So let's look at the 4, and we'll try to pick which one is right. Here's A, the first one: to greatly reduce the cost of making a piano. B, to make different musical notes easier to identify. I mean, if they were all white or all black, that could be confusing. Maybe. C, to represent the 2 types of sound waves. Nah, pianos are really old. I don't think it's that one. D, to mark the notes that are for advanced players only. Interesting, interesting. I remember as a student, sometimes those black notes can be a little scarier, but I'm not sure that D is the answer. Anyway, let's find out more, and then the answer will become clear to all of us. It says the answer to this question can be explained by looking at the history of the piano. Yes, often we can know things about why they are the way they are by finding out how they started. So that's history. Let's check it out. The piano was created in the 1700s as an improvement on earlier keyboard instruments such as the harpsichord and pipe organ. These are 2 instruments you can still hear and find around. Pipe organs, of course, those big things inside churches, and harpsichords look like little pianos, and the sound is more like sort of picking a guitar string or something like that. Very lovely. If you listen to some Bach, you can hear some lovely harpsichord sounds, but all of those instruments, piano, harpsichord, organ, they all have a keyboard. Now, I'm not talking about the keyboard you type on a computer, although we call that a keyboard because it comes from the idea of a piano keyboard. But basically, if you're playing a keyboard as an instrument, you're playing something that looks like a piano, but it could be made of plastic and it could be filled with microchips and make all sorts of cool, crazy synthesizer electronic sounds. The idea is you're pressing these black and white keys to make music. It's a keyboard. It could be a piano, a harpsichord, an organ. All of those things, including the computer, electronic ones, are all keyboards. Neil can play the keyboard, guitar, and drums. He is multi-talented, just like Stevie Wonder. Back to the article, it says, like modern pianos, the keys of these instruments, the older ones, were arranged in a repeating pattern of 5 black and 7 white keys. That's right, it's not quite 1 for 1, but it's almost 1 for 1. There were 2 reasons for this. All right, here we go. First, musicians needed to be able to instantly identify the notes without counting. Right, and so you see why having them different colors is useful. As the article explains, if all the keys looked the same, it would be difficult to tell one note from another. Absolutely. If we didn't have the letters on our computer keyboards, you might be able to remember Q, W, E, R, T, Y, but it would be much slower and you would be making many more mistakes, wouldn't you? That's why it's good to mark these things to make it simpler. All right, let's move on and see what it says next. We can answer the question, why are the keys on a piano black and white? The answer is B, to make different musical notes easier to identify. Yeah, one color would lead to lots of confusion, but there's actually more to it. Second, white and black are the natural colors of the materials that were used to make the keys. So it also comes down to what they actually used to make those different parts, the different keys on the piano. What did they use? Well, the white keys of early pianos were made of ivory. Yeah, ivory from the tusks of elephants and things like that. That kind of slightly yellowish white color. It's very strong and very smooth and stuff. And the black keys were made of ebony wood. Ebony is a very hard but also a very dark type of wood, the black keys. Besides color, these materials were chosen mainly for their high durability, elegant appearance, and smooth feel. Absolutely. Durability is a word. It's tough. It lasts a long time. I mentioned ivory. That was the white keys. I don't think they still use ivory because, as I told you, ivory normally or traditionally comes from the tusks of elephants and I believe walrus as well. You know, walrus, those big goofy seals, and they have those 2 giant teeth. Ivory. We don't want to kill elephants and walruses for ivory, do we? So they use something that feels and looks similar but is not coming from dead animals. That's a good thing. African elephants are often hunted for their ivory, and it's usually illegal, so we don't like to do that. And also, these materials were very elegant. Something elegant, it looks beautiful, it's kind of high class and fancy in some kind of way. When you think of movie stars or people dressed up for a big party where the ladies are wearing long dresses and the men are in their finest tuxedos, everyone looks elegant. We could also talk about the way dancers move, you know, ballroom or ballet dancers. They're very elegant. Swans are animals with their long necks like a ballet dancer, very elegant too. She looked very elegant in her long dress, and she was probably playing the piano elegantly as well. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back about, well, playing the piano.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。同学们有没有想过，为什么钢琴键是黑白的呢？这个答案要从钢琴的历史来解释。钢琴在18世纪创造出来，那它是大键琴 harpsichord 还有管风琴 pipe organ 等等早期键盘乐器的改良版。那就跟现代钢琴一样，这些乐器的琴键是以5个黑键和7个白键的重复排列。那这有2个原因。首先呢，就让音乐家可以在不用数的情况下立刻辨识出音符。如果所有琴键看起来都一样，就很难区分，会让人很困惑嘛。Mike 老师他用到 confusing 这个形容词，就是令人困惑的。好，下一个原因是白色和黑色是琴键制作材料的天然颜色，白键是用这个象牙制成的，黑键是用乌木制成的。那会选择这些材料，主要就是因为它们具有高耐用性，还有优雅的外观跟光滑的手感。单字 keyboard 它表示键盘乐器或者是琴键键盘。老师提到有一些键盘乐器可以产生电子合成的声音，那它用到 synthesize 这个动词 synthesize， 它表示合成的意思。那例句写到说 Neil 他会弹奏键盘乐器、吉他还有打鼓。老师这时候用到 multi-talented 来描述他，在 talented 前面加上 multi 可以变成这个形容词，表达多才多艺的。那我们刚刚说这个字首 multi 或是念作 multi， 它就表示多重的或是不止一个的。下一个单字 ivory 它表示象牙。那我们就补充一下，大象啊、海象等等它们动物那种长牙叫做 tusk， T-U-S-K tusk。那我们也补充一下，海象的英文就是 walrus。好，那再看到 elegant 这个单字，它是形容雅致的或是优雅的。那这边有2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是Tell A from B 表示区分 A 及 B 的差异，我们也可以用 tell the difference between A and B 来表达。那么 tell 在这边是当及物动词，是指区分辨别的意思。来看2个例句 ：It's difficult to tell Max from his twin brother Josh。要分辨 Max 和他的孪生兄弟 Josh 是很困难的。Can you tell the difference between seals and sea lions？ 你能区分海豹和海狮的差异吗？好，再看第2个重点是 be made of 加名词，表示由什么制成，用于这个本质没有改变，你还看得出原料的时候。像 the coffee table is made of wood， 这张咖啡桌是木质的，你一看就知道它是木质的嘛。好，那么来个比较的用法是 be made from 加名词，可以表达由什么制成，可是这是用于从成品看不出原料或本质已经改变的时候。例如 cheese is made from milk， 起司是奶类制成的。好，那我们继续回到课文中。
What's more, the colors of the keys on these early pianos were often reversed, with a repeating pattern of 5 white and 7 black keys. Fewer white keys were used because ivory was expensive. To sum up, a piano's keys are black and white because this allows people to more easily identify the keys and more precisely play musical compositions. All right, and there is actually more about how the color of the piano has changed over time, the color of the keys. It says, what's more, the colors of the keys on these early pianos were often reversed, with a repeating pattern of 5 white and 7 black keys. So basically flipped around. Imagine a lot of black and a few little white keys. And in fact, if you see pictures of old harpsichords as well, often they have a lot of black keys and a few white keys. Why did they do it this way? Well, fewer white keys were used because ivory was expensive. Remember, it comes from Africa. I guess it was easier to get the black ebony wood than to get the ivory in large amounts, so they just flipped the colors around. But of course, today, 99.9% of pianos and even keyboards where the keys are all made of plastic, it's a lot of white and a few black. To sum up, a piano's keys are black and white because this allows people to more easily identify the keys and more precisely play musical compositions. Exactly right. Basically, making it easier for the musician to play and to create beautiful sounds and not worry so much about what they're doing and where they're going. They want to be very precise, or to use it as an adverb, precisely. If you're doing something precisely, you're doing something carefully. You're doing something very accurately. You're not worried, you're not thinking about, that's close enough. No, you're thinking it's gotta be right on. All right, so do something precisely means to do something carefully without having any little mistake. For example, it's important that you follow these instructions precisely. Don't make even a small mistake, otherwise you could fail. And we also had that word composition, talking about playing compositions precisely. A composition is basically something you write. In this case, it's some kind of music that you've written or that you're playing. In school, in English or Chinese class, you might be asked to write a short story or an essay. That can also be called a composition. And I'm sure some of you might know that music writers are often called composers, right? A composer is someone who writes a song, so a composer creates a composition, basically a piece of work, a piece of music. For example, in my music class, we are studying several of Mozart's most famous compositions, like Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Very nice. Can you play that on piano? Probably. I think it's more for violins. Anyway, we'll get to that another day. So here's our what do you think question. What do you think? If you, okay, you got to really imagine here, guys. If you were a piano maker in the 1700s, how would you have solved the problem of identifying the notes on a keyboard instrument? Okay, so pretend you're Herr Bösendorfer in Dortmund, Germany in 1722. Okay, how would you identify the notes on a keyboard instrument? Well, they use black and white or white and black. Would you have used black keys or used a different method? I don't know, I'm thinking, some other colors might be nice. Maybe they could do like a light brown and a dark brown using different kinds of wood. Wouldn't that be easier than killing elephants in Africa? Maybe they could paint them. I know as a student, when I was first learning piano, I wished someone had the really good idea of writing the letters of the notes on the piano, like they write the letters on a keyboard, but of course that would be very expensive, and it's really better, kind of like people who use a computer keyboard, it's better to just memorize all that stuff. I don't know. What about you? Do you have some better ideas about how you, as an ancient piano maker in, I don't know, Austria 300 years ago, what would you have done to make a piano better? Have a talk about that, enjoy yourselves, tinkle the ivories or play the 88s. Play some piano if you get a chance. It's a wonderful musical instrument. You guys are wonderful. We'll see you back here soon. Until then, bye-bye.
好，课文接着提到，这些早期钢琴琴键的颜色经常是相反的，是5个白键和7个黑键的重复形式。那会使用比较少的白键，是因为象牙很贵。那不管怎么样，我们现在都已经了解到，钢琴的琴键之所以是黑白的，是因为这样可以让人更容易辨别琴键，可以更准确的演奏乐曲。好，那我们看单字 precisely。这个副词就表示精确地、准确地。那么 composition 它可以用来表达这个可能是音乐文学方面的作品，那这时候是可数名词，它也可以当不可数名词表达构成、组成。那麦克老师最后提到一个有趣的用语，叫做 tickle the ivories。这个 tickle 有瘙痒的意思，那我们可以把 tickle the ivories 想成轻轻的碰触这个琴键，而这个片语在口语当中就表示弹钢琴的意思。好，以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Question: Why are piano keys black and white? A. To greatly reduce the cost of making a piano. B. To make different musical notes easier to identify. C. To represent the 2 types of sound waves. D. To mark the notes that are for advanced players only. The answer to this question can be explained by looking at the history of the piano. The piano was created in the 1700s as an improvement on earlier keyboard instruments, such as the harpsichord and pipe organ. Like modern pianos, the keys of these instruments were arranged in a repeating pattern of 5 black and 7 white keys. There were 2 reasons for this. First, musicians needed to be able to instantly identify the notes without counting. If all the keys looked the same, it would be difficult to tell one note from another. Second, white and black are the natural colors of the materials that were used to make the keys. The white keys of early pianos were made of ivory, and the black keys were made of ebony wood. Besides color, these materials were chosen mainly for their high durability, elegant appearance, and smooth feel. What's more, the colors of the keys on these early pianos were often reversed, with a repeating pattern of 5 white and 7 black keys. Fewer white keys were used because ivory was expensive. To sum up, a piano's keys are black and white because this allows people to more easily identify the keys and more precisely play musical compositions.
Hello everyone, my name is Winnie.
And I'm Jamie.
Today we are playing Guess the Bear. We each have 3 cards with 1 word or phrase on them, and we have 2 sentences on each of them. But every word or phrase is replaced by the word bear. We each have 1 minute to guess the word. Jamie, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I get a timer? Okay, and your first word is a noun. The piano's keys are made of fake bear. Elephant's tusks are the source of bear.
Is it ivory?
Very good.
Ooh.
Okay, your second one. Adverb, 1 word. He wrote his words carefully and bare. Please arrive bare at 7 o'clock.
Early? Wait. Can you say that
Okay,
again?
we'll change to the next one. Okay. Phrase, 3 words. These dishes bear, bear, bear porcelain. My family's cabin, bear, 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 local timber.
Is made of?
Very good.
Okay.
Okay. The last one that you didn't get. Adverb, 1 word. He wrote his words carefully and bare. Please arrive bare at 7.
Oh, precisely?
Very good.
Okay.
All 3.
I was thinking early and I was like,
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go 1 minute. Yes, all right. 1 word noun. James plays the electronic bear in the jazz band, and her fingers danced across the piano's bear as she played a song.
Keys?
Close. James plays the electronic bear in the jazz band.
Board, keyboard?
Yes, good. Keyboard.
Oh, okay.
Good. Adjective, 1 word. The people at the symphony all looked bare, and Joan wore a long bear dress to the movie premiere.
1 more time?
The people at the symphony all looked bare, and Joan wore a long bear dress to the movie premiere.
Glamorous, beautiful, unique,
More
extravagant.
Okay, let's go next one. Phrase, 2 words. It was so foggy I couldn't bear the cars, bear the trees. And number 2, the hunter could bear a bobcat's call, bear that of a puma.
Recognize?
Mine,
I feel like mine were really hard.
Really hard. So this phrase was tell from. So it was so foggy I couldn't tell the cars from the trees. And the second one is the hunter could tell a bobcat's call from that of a puma.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that's pretty hard.
Yeah,
And
that
then
one was really hard.
the next one was elegant. So it was the people at the symphony all looked elegant, and Joan wore a long, elegant dress to the movie premiere. So I was like, oh, you're kind of close.
Yeah,
All
those
these
adjectives are
descriptors.
really, they're like synonymous. So I'm trying to cover all of them.
Yeah, because the people could be elegant, but they could also be
But,
glamorous.
yeah. Well, I guess you get to wear the bear crown today.
Thank you.